save the brute vigilante junk for that night watchman. So I'm gonna give you one chance to just walk away and stop this vigilante nonsense.
What are you?
Yeah, oof. At least we got to see some Turtle solo training. So for people out there who don't know, I've been a colossal TMNT fan since I was in diapers. I've seen every series and even did this massive video comparing all of them, which you can watch after this. But TMNT 2007 is one of those I always see hyped up like an underrated masterpiece, and honestly, I never get the hype, and Lord knows I have tried. I've rewatched this film several times, especially since I'm now working on a movie TMNT comparison comparable to my Mega TMNT video, and I think my biggest issue with this film, besides the forgettable villains that people don't remember each one of their names or each one's personality without using Google, and don't try to Google it right now, I got your ass, and the subpar monster plotline, is Leonardo himself. 2007 Leonardo is a massive, self-righteous, hypocritical dick for most of the movie after returning from his training in Costa Rica to become a better leader to the Turtles. Now, some will say, that was actually intentional. It was to show how Leo actually didn't learn anything from his time training in Costa Rica. But let's break down why this writing doesn't work that well when we've seen Raph and Leo conflicts done better, and also let's talk about what I actually don't mind about this 2007 Leonardo. Number 1, we start off the movie with Leonardo training in Costa Rica and being the predator on some cartel members, which is heavily implied that he kills.
Show yourself. You realize who you're dealing with?
2, April finds him, tells him that he's missed and he should come home. 3, Leo comes home and begins acting like Splinter's teacher's pet with strict rules to follow, which he, of course, inevitably breaks. This, I do not mind at all. Leo has always been a badass, gone solo multiple times, and has been the responsible one who listens to Splinter, but inevitably ends up breaking some rules with his brothers, which he then lectures the other brothers on, and then Raph gets mad at him for that level of hypocrisy coming from him. That is all classic TMNT stuff that works. What doesn't work is him turning into a self-hating vigilante when him and his vigilante brothers are already friends with characters like Casey Jones. Now, early Casey was a menace, brutalizing criminals before Raphael stopped him, so you could understand why certain versions of the Turtles would try to stop him since he was going too far and losing control. Also, it's lightly implied that this movie is the 4th movie of the original live-action trilogy. When you get to the end, you see their version of the Shredder's helmet from the very first TMNT 1990 movie. You see the Time Scepter from TMNT 3 and the Ooze Canister from, Secret of the Ooze, but to be fair, that's in all incarnations. For a while, it was thought that this movie was the 2003 Turtles because even in the video game, they used the 2003 Shredder design, but that was a very common misconception from back in the day, and I don't blame you at all for it if you thought so.
But when you full-on compare and contrast, while there are similarities, there's a lot of stuff that will have that graph go zigzagging.
Though this film is the reason why the TMNT got pupils in the final season of TMNT 2003, Back to the Sewers, which again, I found to just be a horrible design choice compared to earlier seasons. And another thing, in Turtles Forever, when the Utrom Shredder was showing all the other TMNT their different universes, you see the 2007 ones further confirming they weren't the 2003 ones. But when this film opens up and we see the Night Watcher, he is practically catching criminals like Batman and not even really giving them any concerning injuries like... This could be much more understandable if Raphael, who is known for losing his temper and having rage-out moments, was brutally beating criminals nearly to death, but he isn't. He's merely catching criminals with the same tactics as the Turtles. If you want to have Leo meet the Night Watcher to just talk to him, that'd be one thing, but him going on this whole tirade and self-righteous BS of, we must stop this vigilante nonsense, and again, you could say, it was his ego and he was written to be in the wrong. Sure, we know Leonardo has an ego, he even expresses some things about being better than others, but when you watch the movie straight up for what it is, that concept is sadly poorly presented, especially when we've seen that dynamic done much better before. In my opinion, if you're going to write Leo to be in the wrong, it's much better when it's from a place of where we can see why you're acting this way. Because I visually, and I do mean this, I've visually studied every scene with Leo in this movie when he gets back. Like, it's on Netflix or was on Netflix for a while, and I paused and looked around to make sure I was not missing anything, and no, I'm not. When they get to the roof and start talking about the Night Watcher vigilante menace, Leo's hate legitimately comes out of nowhere. It's like they cut a scene prior that set this up. Also, I have got to mention this. There are these 2007 prequel movie comics, which in my opinion, I think, again, do stuff better than the actual film. And it's weird like how the ancillary material with the video game and the comics are better than the movie, in my honest opinion, with just a lot of stuff they do. But Leo does more stuff in the comics where it's like, bro, he is on demon time. And I don't mean that in like a negative way, because like there's a part where he finds these child traffickers, where he finds these children are going to be sold to them, and he slaughters them. Like he is covered in blood afterwards, and it's like actually pretty hype. It's like, yeah, go get Leo. But then you also see how Raphael becomes the Night Watcher, and Raphael, when he becomes the Night Watcher, he beats the crap out of people, but it's not necessarily like they're dead. Like he beats the crap out of some people, but then later on when you see him like in the movie, it's not like he is putting them comatose. He's not no Arkham Asylum Batman with the stuff, and they're like trying to make it appear like he is super violent, when it's just like, I think what Leo is doing, I think this counts more. I think this counts as more violent. And again, I condone that because I am all for like those people getting the worst type of treatment. But again, people will say their dynamic with vigilantism is sort of like Batman and Superman when they first started out. But realistically, it's more like Batman and Ra's or Ra's al Ghul, however you want to pronounce it. Because like Leo decimates, Raph incapacitates. Like that's pretty much what is going with, and it makes me laugh. It makes me genuinely laugh, like when it's just like, you vigilante menace. It's just like, bruh, how many bodies have you caught, Leo? For example, it doesn't need to be spoken out loud, but simple visual storytelling without a word said could be like, Leo comes back. He sees images of the Night Watcher on papers or on the TV about what he's doing, and then have him reflecting on being better than him because him and his brothers used to be the top vigilantes around, and visually show he is letting his ego and jealousy get the better of him without a single line of dialogue. But the way it's framed in the literal movie, and you can look this up for yourself, it goes,
Leo's back. Stupid vigilante Night Watcher. He's terrible. But why is he bad but Casey and us are okay, bruh? Because.
What? And through the movie, I'm sorry, it's just not done well unless you're high on copium and assume. In my personal opinion, here is a way you could fix this. Instead of having Leo being a hypocrite on vigilantes, have him think the Night Watcher was a villain instead, who was causing harm instead of helping people. And have Leo want to prove himself by going alone and catching him to show that he is a good leader, but in doing so, proves why he is not and how he hasn't learned anything in Costa Rica. It still keeps the Leo ego angle, but more understandable.
You can have Raph mess up early on, and it appears like he's a straight-up bad guy. Not a vigilante, a straight-up bad guy.
And when Leo starts saying, we gotta take this guy down, you can have Raph be like, how do you know you're not misunderstanding situations like you do? I don't know what that accent I gave Raph, I'm so sorry. But then have that cause the building tension between them. Then have the same scene where Night Watcher Raph is trying to help, but then Leo catches him later on, and they have a misunderstanding, but through the fight, have Leonardo realize it's Raphael from his fighting style, and then just be like, oh snap, it is a giant metal turtle I'm fighting, and then have him knock off his helmet, and then they have the emotional breakdown scene between Leo and Raph, which then leads to their fight, and it becomes much more understandable and engaging. Because I feel like majority of TMNT fans love this rooftop fight. So do I. I think the choreography is amazing, and it looks spectacular, like the rain atmosphere is just badass. But the reason they are fighting always takes my investment out of it. I truly think a variation of what I said would add so much more to the emotional resonance and then have the movie progress from there as it did. Again, I want to make this perfectly clear. If you love this movie, absolutely zero hate to you. I'm not making this to be like, you're stupid and this movie is trash or something like that. Absolutely not. What I'm saying is just my opinion of what always bothered me about this film, that I was like, oh, I wish they would have done this better. And you can love what you love. A lot of people grew up with this movie and have very fond memories of it, and do not let me take that away from you. Never let anyone take that away from you if you love something. But I hope I was able to express why 2007 Leo has always bothered me compared to his other counterparts. I truly think it could have been handled so much better, and whenever I talk about this movie to someone who loves it, the main thing I keep hearing is, I loved it as a kid, and that rooftop fight is so emotional and true, but also, in my honest opinion, the 2007 video game is a bit better than the movie when you like replay it and like rewatch the movie and replay the game. Like, it's just like, I feel the game does a better job. I'm sorry. Hey, but if you made it this far in the video, type in Leo Fix down in the comments below and tell me which version of Leonardo is your favorite in any of the medias and why, and let's get a discussion going. I really do love when we have these like sort of discussions on these things. I hope you enjoyed this video and be sure to hit that like button, or if you didn't like the video, hit the dislike button, either or, it's fine. And then, hit that bell icon and subscribe. I have a ton more videos on my channel. And I have many more videos coming later this year, so you definitely are going to want to see those. So check out my programs too, any of the fitness programs I have on sale right now. But remember, like I always say, keep calm, booyah on, and don't forget Momentai. But go be like one of these Leos and not this one, all right? It would just make you a better person. All right, peace out. My $5 patron shoutouts for the month of February: AX13, Damien the Human, Femto, Hunter Bursch, John Paul Meyer, Callus Wing, and Rex Ashcraft. Thank you all for your added support. All of you are super. Just saying.